Hey, what's up?
All right. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to Bettermindz Interrupting. Here with myself, Bettermindz, also known as Trending, Lovely T, and Maria, Brown Girl Interrupting. And so we also have our producer in the background. He's not feeling too great, but he's a great producer, so he is also with us. And thank you for being there. Okay, so the topic. You want to know what the topic is?
Of course, I want to know what we talking about today. Where we going?
Why not to give a fuck?
Why not to give a fuck? Ooh, I like it because I give no fucks. I'm no interest in giving any fucks. So how,
But
why, and how?
you can have some. You can have a few. It's okay to have some. But I'm gonna tell you, this conversation is based off of a book that I did read called "The Art of Not Giving a Fuck," and it's by Mark Manson. And so there's also a workbook and everything about this topic. It is very important to why you should not give a fuck on so many levels. It is the year 2022. Let me drop a good gem on you. The spirit this year is the spiritual aspect of this is to improve your focus in all your dealings to achieve more success in life. That's what this year should be about. Okay? It should be all about your focus.
Mm. Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So, Mario, you have also read this book too, right?
I have, and I will say it was transformational. And the funny thing is that I have been looking at this book for a really long time, and a year into seeing it for the first time at a friend's house, I picked it up and read it myself, and it changed the way I looked at life drastically, and in a really healthy way. Like I felt lighter, I think, after reading it.
Right. It gave you a different perspective on
Oh
things.
yeah, for
And it
sure.
made you realize, you know what? I am tripping. What the do I care for? Okay. So, here we go. All right. So, the first lesson in this book, it talks about daily life can be overwhelming. And the only way people can reduce those feelings is to stop caring. So, so much about everything that doesn't matter. Focus on what does matter to you and what needs your immediate attention,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as this lesson explains, the best thing a person can do with their energy, and we spoke about energy, and time is to find the people, places, and or things that are most meaningful and important in their lives. On every path of life, there will be problems that arise. How do you stop caring so much about misfortunes and hardships? You first have to find something that you care about more than the difficult time you are having. You have to find the things that bring meaning to your life. So if you're having a difficult time, you need to find something that brings meaning to your life. When you are able to find the things that bring meaning to your life, then you will be able to overcome the problem better. You will be able to sustain quite a bit of pain and stress because your life still has those things that bring meaning to it. Therefore, it can be said that the way to find happiness is not by caring about everything. Rather, the key to happiness is caring about less and only those things that truly matter. After
Mm-hmm.
all, you and every person you have ever known in your life is going to die. Life is short, and people only have a limited number of fucks they can give.
So I like that because that first lesson, I think what I took from it and what you just said, right, is this idea that we are searching for happiness because we care about things so much. And so when we let go of that search for happiness, we're not caring about happiness. We're just experiencing the happiness, right?
That's true. That's true. And we spoke about that happiness, that searching for happiness. It comes with a lot of backlash.
Yeah, it does.
And also, there's two more. Every day you are deciding what to care about and what to not care about. You may not realize this, however, the key to the subtle art of not giving a fuck is by trimming away the things in your life that you care about. Did you hear that? Trimming away the things in your life that you care about. This way, you will only be left with the things that you truly care about, and you can focus your attention on them.
So you're prioritizing.
Huh?
You're prioritizing. The subtle art of not giving a fuck is prioritize what you actually do give a fuck about.
There you go. The subtle art of not giving a fuck does not mean that you have to be indifferent about everything. It means that it may be your best interest to stop caring so much about everything. Even though the society and people may tell you that you need to, you don't. Most importantly, you should not say fuck it to everything. Don't say fuck it to everything. The phrase should be reserved only for those things that, at the end of the day, are not that important. That's what it should be for.
So what I got to figure out then is what's important to me and why. Because I think the problem with the searching for happiness is that I feel, and this goes back to our the way we perceive things, right? Is that it's a lack mentality. It's this idea that I'm missing something that I don't have to give me happiness. And then my energy is going to that thing rather than prioritizing where my energy needs to go. So the subtle art of not giving a fuck is the prioritizing of the energy.
Yes. Priority. Because notice it said trimming the things that you care about. Getting rid of the things you care about.
Okay. And look, we got some questions. So Mogi Pierogi, how do you get over loneliness? I'm over my wife, but I don't leave because I don't want them be alone. And trust me, I don't give a fuck about anything except being alone. Ooh, yes. Alone is a hard thing. And so I think that's where you have to get to the place of like, why is it? So part of the prioritizing is, why am I putting my energy here? Is it because I'm fearful of something? And what am I actually fearful of?
Exactly. What are you fearful of? And are you really over your wife? Because you made an excuse to not leave. We gotta dig deep. We gotta dig deep. We gotta dig deep. Because that's an excuse.
So, okay, I'm gonna push back a little bit. I think it's part of it is, yes, maybe it's an excuse for some people, but it's a real fear. Like, I get that. I totally get it, Mogi Pierogi, because I have had that fear. I have lived in that fear of loneliness, of not being alone, and you accept things that are actually not good for you, and you put your energy places because of that fear of loneliness. So one of the things is to get over anything that you're fearful of is to figure out, why are you fearful of it? What is scary about it to you? Because that's what you're trying to figure out, right?
Right. And why would you feel alone? That should be a time for you to grow. You shouldn't, because you said you don't care about nothing. You don't care about anything except being alone. So you don't want to be alone. Okay. So what you want to do? You said, I'm over my wife, but I don't leave because I don't want them to be alone. Then you said, and trust me, I don't give a fuck about anything except being alone. How do you get over loneliness? For who? You or for your wife? I need to know that question. But until you come back, until you answer that, yes, Mr. Jones, I like your answer. Alone is all emotional.
Yes.
Yes. Good evening.
Good
Thank you for coming
evening, Mr.
in.
Jones. Yes, thanks and welcome back again for being in the chat.
Yes. Did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that question is good. Is like, who are you afraid of being alone for? Is it for you or for someone else? And I just think loneliness is a complicated thing because it's like, are we scared of ourselves sometimes? And that's why we're afraid of being alone. Because
Right.
if I'm alone, I got to think about me. And thinking about me is actually a little bit more stressful because I got a lot of shit to think about when it comes to me. But if I think about someone else, I don't have to think about me, right?
Exactly.
Tennessee, good to see you in the chat already. What up? What
Hey,
salute?
Tennessee. But you're absolutely right. That's the question I need to know. Bring that back up with your answer. Okay, so on to lesson number 2. Lesson number 2, do not follow values that are not in your control. Okay, so one of the most prominent ideas in the ideology of Stoicism, and for those that don't know that is the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings or without complaint. So, one of the most prominent ideas in the ideology of Stoicism is to place your focus only on the things that you can control. Mark Manson seems to follow this ideology as well. One of his major points in the subtle art of not giving a fuck is that people should never follow or believe things that they are not in control of. What are values and beliefs you can control? Here's a good example of them. Imagine, and as an example, that the top 3 words you would use to describe yourself are honest, always on time, and popular. You have complete control of being honest. You and only you make the decision whether or not you will tell the truth, tell a half truth, or tell a lie. In addition, you are the only person who knows whether or not you have told the truth. No one else knows to what degree you are honest every second of your life. You are the only person that holds that information. The next descriptive phase was only on time. Being punctual is something that you can somewhat control. You can always calculate how much time you need to get ready for work, for example, and you can easily find what traffic looks like at the time you need to calculate your driving time. However, you cannot control a sudden car accident along your route that slows cars or even brings them to a complete stop. You also cannot control if your train or bus happens to be late that day. Thus, this is the value that is only partially in your control. You should take cautious with using it to describe yourself. The final descriptive word was popular. Being popular is not in your control, even a little bit. You can be a person who has all the latest fashion and gadgets. You can be someone who is kind and friendly when interacting with other people. However, you cannot control how other people see you. You cannot make yourself be popular. That relies solely on the opinions of the people around you. Therefore, popularity is a value that is out of your control, and it should not be followed. You should not give a fuck.
So I think this piece about control to me, so I told you there were some big pieces, right, that I walked away with. Ooh, the control one. And okay, so I'm a Capricorn. Which means that I like to know things. I do like to have control. And that has been my lesson of learning in the last few years in particular, is letting go of control. But I think, like, from what you described, the whole idea is that it's not that I'm letting go entirely of any control, it's that I'm letting go of control of thinking that I have any control over others and that I have any control over circumstances, right? So if I'm in an accident, even if I can control myself, I can't control what's happening around me. If I'm in a relationship and I can control myself, I can't control the other person in the relationship with me. The only thing we have true control of is ourselves. And in ourselves, it's our mindset. So it's that shift of like, recognizing that I'm letting go of the control of everything else, including outcomes. And I'm just focusing on what I can control, which is me. So if I know that I can control my ability to create something, so I will say like this last few months, I've been in a lot of places and I've mentally, and the one thing I could control was my own creativity. So I'm gonna create something because I can control that.
That's right.
And when you do, and I think this is another piece, I don't know if we're getting to it later, but I know this came from the book too, is this idea that even if you just take one small step, you're doing something towards something else. And that is the subtle art of also not giving a fuck.
You said it all. Okay, lesson number 3. Give up the idea that anything you know is completely true. Lesson explained. Mark Manson wants readers to understand that believing they are certain about anything slows down their growth. When you give up the idea that you think you know for certain that something is true, you are able to begin learning. For example, when scientists are doing experiments, they do not look at the problem and believe they know for certain what the solution to that problem is. Instead, they go through the scientific method, even if they have a pretty good idea of what the outcome will be. They do not know for certain, though. Thus, running their hypotheses through the scientific method helps them formulate a better conclusion, even if they were right in the beginning, because they watch the experiment happen. This rule is also true when it comes to society and relationships. Consider you're standing in your school or office. If you believe that you are unattractive or unlikable, then you would probably find yourself feeling sad or depressed often. Truthfully, you cannot know how other people see you because you are not inside their minds. Believing that you know these things for certain may lead to you not forming relationships with others, which could make you believe you are unpopular. It would be easy for your brain to think you are unpopular because you are ugly and no one likes you. However, it is more likely because you have withdrawn from people. This is the danger of believing that you know anything for certain. Another reason it is important to let go of the belief that you know anything for certain is that you will be unable to see your mistakes. If you cannot see your mistakes, you cannot grow as a person. When you let yourself doubt things, that things are not entirely as you believe them to be, you can be free. You can free yourself from the limiting beliefs that may be holding you back from growing to your full potential.
So Candace says it's all just a process. Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's all just a process. And I think, Mr. Jones, salute to all of the Capricorns. Yes, yes. 2 days. 2 days. I'm there. Almost there. so, my fellow Cap, I appreciate that. So I think it's interesting because, what you just said about this idea of certainty, like what stuck with me is certainty stops growth.
Yeah.
That's huge because the whole thing is that we're always trying to grow and learn. So if you have this expectation of certainty, you're limiting your opportunities of what could be, right? So if I'm certain that I want to be with this one person and this one person doesn't want to be with me, then I'm limiting my opportunities of the possibility that maybe there's someone else, right?
Exactly.
Like, so the certainty holds us back from the opportunities that we might have in the universe because we're holding on to something with certainty, just like control. So control and certainty, to me, they go hand in hand. So when you let go of control, what you're letting go of is that certainty as well. You got to let go of both at the same time. Kennedy says, I'm a sex symbol. That's how I feel about me. LOL. Yes, Kennedy. Thank you.
But yes, I agree with it. Ready for lesson number 4?
I'm ready.
Okay.
These are some good ones.
Do not make leaving a legacy your main focus. Instead, focus on being as useful as you can in the present. Explained. It is common for people to want to leave behind a legacy. We all do. Whether that is children and grandchildren, a great achievement, or some sort of fame, people want to leave something behind so that they will be remembered after they die. The truth is that everyone is going to die, and it is also common for people to be afraid of dying. As the time die draws closer, people become more and more afraid, and they are driven more and more to leave behind a legacy of some sort. It is almost as if we believe we will not die entirely if there is a part of us left here on earth. However, that is not true. And according to Mark Manson, this obsession with leaving behind a legacy may actually be holding us back from making the most of the small amount of time we do have in these lives. When people are pushed to leave behind a legacy, they begin to stress more, work too hard and too much, and their focus is on the future. If the focus is on the future, we can miss what the present time period holds. The knowledge that everyone will die can make life seem pointless in some ways. However, in some ways, it can also be liberating. You have nothing to lose. The embarrassing times and the fears you cling to have no meaning as well. Therefore, you might as well try all the things you want to do. But don't because you are held back by fear. You might as well let go of the times you felt embarrassed or the fear of being embarrassed, because it will not matter after you are dead anyway. Mark Manson urges people to focus on today and being the best and most useful person they can be in every present moment. After all, we are only guaranteed the present. The future, even the very near future, is completely uncertainty.
It really is. I read a quote one time which said, the future is your imagination. You're right. Don't suffer the past or the future, because one's your memory and one's your imagination. It really is. Like, we have no idea what actually is going to happen in the future. And but that's an interesting point when you say legacy, like, because I think we think of that as an end goal, but a really good at, like, this idea, like, I'm always thinking I'm building an empire. So am I wrong for wanting to build an empire? Like, am I in the wrong place? Is that thinking about the future more than the present?
But guess what? Let me hip you to something. As an empress,
which I am,
you build an empire. And the empress is higher than a queen, because a queen just rules a kingdom. So as an empress, and my husband calls me that all the time, you build an empire, right? So, but you don't want to stress. You don't want to work hard. You don't want to kill yourself to build a legacy. That's like chasing happiness.
So it's like you can put your energy into building an empire, but your energy, it shouldn't consume you. So nothing should consume you is what I'm hearing. Is that right?
So consume you. So when you
if things don't work with my empire building, right? If we're building empires, we're doing stuff and things don't work, you don't force something that isn't fitting. Is that what that idea is with your legacy? Is that allowing things to be, letting go of the fear and liberation kind of thing of, like, letting go of certainty again, right? So I'm building an empire. I don't know what my empire is going to look like, but I know it's going to be an empire because at the helm is an empress, right? Like so that is all that I know and can control. So I'm assuming that's kind of what we're talking about here, right?
That's right. So if you think about it, I ask my clients this. This is one of our sessions, and one of it is, what would you want your tombstone to say? That's kind of the same thing as what you want to leave behind as a legacy. But how you should go about it is not doing so much at one time for the future. You got to pay attention to what you're doing at this moment. You got to live at this moment. Mm-hmm. You can't live your best life at this moment if you're stressing. Live. That's how you be. That's how that's what it's meant to be, and being in the moment, being in present, just being.
Well, and so I will add to that one of the pieces that I took from the book that talked about it was this idea is that I'm gonna look back in my notes because I know I wrote it, but it's this idea that you really actually need to focus on and put your attention into one thing. So like if you are just you're being in one thing rather than being in like 100 things. So it's not about the breadth of your experience, it's about the depth of your experience. So, and that can be within, one person that you're with, one job that you're in, one creative outlet that you're doing, right? But you're focused on that one thing and deepening your understanding of it in the present, not the imagination and not the past, but in the present. And then that allows you, again, going back to, I think he used this word, liberation. Yeah. Because by focusing on one thing, you're actually liberating yourself from this fear of not accomplishing so much.
Mm-hmm. Stop being in that fear. Why you worry about having so much? Right. Why you not worried about your health? Why you not worried about your nutrition? Why you not worried about your foot health? Notice I'm saying everything about yourself. Worry about yourself. Because when you do that, you learn to ignore outside negativities. Right? Mm-hmm. And that will block the distractions so that you can focus on those goals to get what you got. And you ain't got to work so hard. You'll be at peace, loving life.
And that's the goal. The goal is peace. The goal is peace.
Just to be. Look like we can get through these lessons. So we're on number 5.
Well, so before we do we need to go to the chat and check and see we got some comments or anything before we move to our next lesson?
We can see. I'm not sure. However, anybody have any questions? Want to add into their experience?
Kennedy gonna have us cracking up the whole time. I tried crawling out the tub like Prince and when doves cry and damn near broke my back, LOL. I had to chest air and everything, LOL. I was on that fuck shit, LOL.
Oh my goodness.
Tennessee, I don't know if that's certainty or control. Like you were living in the moment, like you were really in the moment. Like we could bring it all in there now.
All the above, awareness and all. I want my tombstone to say, fuck it, I'm gone. With the 2 fingers saying peace on one hand, the middle on the other hand.
That's your legacy, Kennedy. We got it.
We got it. We understand. We understand. We feel
peace. Love and light. Love and light.
That's right.
All right. So what is our lesson number 5?
Okay. So This may hurt. Sorry, this may hurt some people's feelings, unless you don't give a fuck. Doing great things does not make you great. Explain. The subtle art of not giving a fuck, Mark Manson talks briefly about greatness. It is easy for people to believe that if they are doing great things, then they will also be great. However, Mark Manson points out that each person will never be able to achieve greatness through doing great things. Instead, it is more important to choose the values that are important to you and make sure you are living by those values. That is how you become great. Today's society runs on social media and consumer culture. Everyone is trying to make the next cool gadget, launch a popular new app, buy the newest car model, finish their schooling before everyone else in their peer group, or be the mastermind behind the next viral video. Not only are people constantly trying to be better than everyone else, they are also putting every accomplishment they achieve all over social media. If they aren't doing it themselves, you can be sure that someone else will do it for them. It has been proven that social media makes people have low self-esteem because they are constantly comparing themselves to others. Therefore, it is no wonder in this culture that people are using things and achievements to measure their greatness. Mark Manson wants people to understand that no matter what amazing feature you achieve, it will not make you great. What makes people great is that they choose every day what to care about and what not to care about. This simple daily choice makes everyone successful every day. Though we may not realize it right now, to be a person that lives by values they have set for themselves daily makes that person greater than any achievement or invention could ever make them. Each person should shift their focus to living by their values instead of achieving greatness by doing great things. In other words, be yourself.
And I think it goes back to our conversation on ego.
Ego.
Because to bring something, to say that something is, I'm great at something, that's your ego
because
speaking.
I achieved these things.
Because I achieved something, right? Like it's your ego that's driving all of that. And that ego is probably come from an insecurity. To have to say to someone, look at how great I am, is an insecurity of feeling you're not great.
Right.
Because if you're good at what you do, if you bring value in the way that you present things, you say things, the way you interact, whatever you create, whatever it is, it should just speak for itself. That's being in the now, right?
That is true.
And it's our ego that gets in the way of it, right? So it's not and it goes back to material. I think like all of this and so much of his book is about like letting go of this materialistic culture of proving who we are through what we have or what we accomplish, right? Like, and honestly, it comes up in the dating world because how do a lot of women and men look for partners? I would say more women, right? Like this idea that like you have a checklist of this man has to have this much money made, right? They have to have this career, they have to be on this path, they have to have this a house like this, right? Like it becomes material and it's not about people anymore.
Right.
So when we're not focused on that, it's not about humanity. It's about the ego.
Yep. Ego, materialistic. I will only be great if I achieve these things. If that's how you think of yourself, you need a timeout. If you feel like, oh, I'm not going to be great because I didn't achieve this success or I didn't achieve that success, why are you thinking less of yourself? Because I'm great every day. And there's a lot of things I haven't accomplished yet, but I will. But those things is not what makes me great.
Look, and your level of greatness should be based on your only comparison should be you. Not anybody else, right? So look, I got a list every day of just the things I want to be great at to accomplish, and it's the basics of basics. But if I accomplish them, I'm like, hell yes, I did it. I checked off 3 things on my daily list. Like, that's an accomplishment. That's great for me, right? Like, I'm really proud of myself. But like, it's not about whether or not someone else is proud of me. It's not about whether or not I accomplished the same amount as somebody else, right? Like, and I think you brought it up. This social media is like insane in the way that ingrains this competitive nature. And you know what I think it comes down to? Like, I was thinking as we were talking, like, it reminds me of this idea of collectivist versus individualistic societies. Mm-hmm. And like, collectivism is the I am because we are. So there isn't this competition because we are growing together. And that's the other thing, right? Like, if it's about greatness, then I'm not expecting or wanting everyone else to be great because I have to be great. I have to be up here, so everyone else has to be somewhere else.
That's right. That's right.
That's a real individualistic way of thinking.
Ooh, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Not at all high vibing.
Hey, we don't have time to waste energy. Right?
No.
And a part of not wasting energy is not giving a fuck. If nothing is going your way, so the fuck what? If somebody want to leave you, so the fuck what? Let them leave. Let them go. Don't allow excuses. Don't allow any of those things to get in the way of you, period. Just chop it off. Let go.
So the only fuck I'm giving is how do I keep my damn peace?
Like,
that's the only fuck I'm giving right now. How do I keep my damn peace? And who got to go in order for it to stay? Like, that's it. That's it.
You know, what you said earlier is about putting your priorities in order. Mm-hmm. And you got to know that you don't want nobody coming around messing up your energy.
Oh, shit. Kennedy is on fire today. Kennedy, I successfully bought some weed from a motherfucker I didn't trust and made it home. LOL. I'm proud of me. That's success like a motherfucker. LOL. Yes. And we are proud of you too, Kennedy. Like, look, I'm serious. Some days, like this past month, some days it was just, I got the fuck out of bed. I'm proud of myself. Like, that was a lot. That was a lot some days. Eki! Glad to have you here in the chat. Another queen from the Ranters Union and the Ranters Network.
Okay. Hey, queen. How are you? Rather, Empress. Okay, so lesson number 6. Focusing on the power of positive thinking can make you feel miserable because you are constantly reminding yourself of what you lack and where you failed. Hold on, y'all. Let me get a piece of charger. You heard that? You heard that, Maria?
Yeah, so focus on the positive is actually something that is making us more miserable. That is an interesting contradictory statement in itself, right? Like, it sounds contradictory, but tell me why. Why
do you recall? Excuse me. Do you recall when I said to you one day, we was on a phone call, and I said, when you are sad, you are being negative. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You remember that, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what you just asked me?
I said what you said was focusing on the positive is actually a negative thing.
Right. So if you're constantly
okay.
You see what I'm?
I think I put the two together. It took me a minute. This one was a little bit harder for me, but I got it. So because the reason I'm focusing on the positive is because I feel like I'm missing something. So I need something else that's positive to give me external positivity. And because I'm doing that, I'm actually hurting myself and staying in a negative place.
Yes, you are.
Hmm.
So let's see what it's explained. So, self-help books about the power of positive
Ooh.
thinking have been around for decades. It is also known as the law of attraction. Before I finish, Schoolboy said focusing on positive can make you blind to reality. Yes.
Yes, and welcome, Schoolboy, another Ranters Network.
Welcome. Yes, that is so true. And we spoke about that in a previous
reality versus perception, right? That is the truth.
Yes.
Because
So,
positivity comes along with certainty and certain of outcomes.
that's right. So it is also known as the law of attraction. The power of positive thinking and the law of attraction work around the same idea that what you think most about is what you will get in your life. For example, if you don't want to live in poverty, but you are always obsessing over it and keeping your focus on not living in poverty, eventually you will live in poverty. On the other hand, if you keep your focus on the positive side of that, which is living comfortably and always having enough money, then that is how you will live. Mark Manson is huge critic of this idea. According to Mark Manson, when people talk about the power of positive thinking, what they are actually talking about is a confirmation bias. Didn't you say something about it being contradiction? Okay. When humans choose to focus on good things, then they are essentially training their brains to notice more good things than bad things. For example, if you make the decision that you want to buy a specific type of car, then you may start to see that car everywhere. You ever notice that?
Mm-hmm.
This is not the law of attraction, however. The car has only now become relevant to your mind. They always been driving past you. You just never noticed it until you wanted it. Okay? So you are noticing it more often. Another example is if someone betrays you or hurts your feelings, from that point on, you start to notice all of the bad qualities of that person instead of good, because now they are relevant to your mind. Mark Manson says that this type of thinking may be helpful at first to people that have a poor self-image. Eventually, however, Mark Manson believes that it can cause people to feel as though they are failures and causes people to have delusional positivity that could actually lead them down some dangerous paths. When we are constantly reminding ourselves of what we want, we're only focusing on what we don't have instead of focusing on the good around us right now. Remember, the subtle art of not giving a fuck is about caring about less instead of caring about more. In the end, a person who is truly happy does not need to look in the mirror every day and tell themselves that they are happy and positive. They simply are, and that's it.
Yeah. So, and I think this idea of shifting mindset, right? It's about not what I want, but what I have. So going back to the present, right? Like, so what do I have that is, and it might be that that have is different than what you want. So maybe it's the have is the house, even though the want is the car, right? But it's still, that's an abundance mindset versus that lack mindset, right?
Right. You're absolutely right, Schoolboy. The Secret was a trash book. I just paid my rent late. I tried to manifest rent money, but my black ass had to go to work to get it. No amount of positive thinking shall pay the rent. Only money. But that's what he just said. That is not the law of attraction. That's why being positive make you feel miserable, because you're not going to get the results. You're focusing too much on it.
Well, and I think, like, so manifesting is an interesting thing, because I think, like, some people feel like I just manifest it and it comes, but like manifest doesn't mean you don't do the work in the present. Like, you still got to do some stuff, right? But while you're doing the work, you're supposed to be thinking about what you have, not what you don't have.
Right, exactly. Focus on the present.
Okay.
All right. Good stuff. Lesson number 7. The path to being happy is filled with stress and pain. What pain are you willing to endure to get to where you want to be?
See, and to me, that's this thing is that the reason we don't want pain is because pain is discomfort, and people are afraid of discomfort. But discomfort is where we grow.
That's
So
right.
you have to go through pain. I actually just talked about this today on my Instagram story. I was talking about this idea of healing. It is painful to heal. It is actually not comfortable. It is the most uncomfortable thing ever to heal. Uncomfortable as fuck. I even wrote about it. I got a whole thing all about healing hurts.
Yes.
Because it is. But that is why so many of us don't do the work for healing, because the pain is what we are afraid of. The discomfort is what we are running away from. But discomfort is how we get to a place of growth.
This is true. This is true. And it's, remember what I said on the live we did? I said, sometimes you suffer to come out of what you're suffering. If you're aware of it, sometimes. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the same thing as this. So let's see what he means by this. Stress and pain are inevitable in life. Everyone will have obstacles they face at some point in life. This is unavoidable. If you want to be on the path to happiness, you will face some pain. In fact, you will likely find that everything worth achieving will be achieved by going through some sort of negative experience. You have to ask yourself the question, what pain am I willing to endure in order to get where I want to be? That is how your success in life will be determined. The whole idea of the subtle art of not giving a fuck can be summed up by saying that people need to stop caring about so much and only care about those things that truly matter. Right? In order to achieve your goals, you will have to face some pain. However, if you can find a way not to care about the pain that you are going to go through to achieve your goals, you will be able to achieve almost anything. You will have a choice every day as to what pain you are willing to endure to achieve your goals. One obvious example is getting fit. Going from out of shape to in shape is uncomfortable. Sometimes it is quite painful. If you choose that you will push through the physical pain every day, you will be able to achieve your goals of getting fit. If you want to buy a house one day, you will have to work hard and probably save up some money instead of using it for the nights out with your friends. Then you will have to find a house and get a loan. While these things are not physically painful, they are obstacles you will have to go through in order to get the house you want. In the end, you can always make the choice that your goal is not worth going through that obstacle or that pain at this point in your life.
So I think that is a really powerful one, this idea about pain, because we are growing in that space of pain, right? But it really is about, we're going to go through pain, right? We're going to have problems, but it's not just that we have to like just get through it. It's that, how do we get through it, right? Like, so the bottom line is that I think for most people, like, even if you're watching this right now and it might be a question that you have, right, is how do you get through the pain? And that's where it comes back to knowing yourself. Because you have to have tools, because what problems are going to happen, it doesn't mean you just sit there and let life happen to you, because it doesn't. You have that control of how you are going to move through life and how you are going to deal with the pain, how you are going to deal with the problems. And that's where you get to know yourself. So even like your example of exercising, right? if you know something's hard for you, what do you know about yourself to make it easier? So for me, just as an example, right? Like I make lists. I'm a list person. I like I got 6 different notebooks at one given time while I'm at work still and writing 6 different lists for 6 different things going on in my head at the same time, right? but it's my way of dealing with my problems, one.
Right.
And then two, when it comes to things that are hard for me, those lists are less large. Like I'll make it small. Like literally, my list right now, I'm gonna say meditate, exercise, read, write, journal, create, and share a story. That's it. That's my list. My daily list is that basic. Meditate, exercise, create something, share a story with someone, and read. That's it. Like it's approachable. It's a simple list because that's what I know I can accomplish. So
right.
One of the things that gets us through stuff when it comes to pain, this idea of taking pain and turning into power, is that you have to look for the things that you know you're going to have control and success in. Because once you get those successes, you build your confidence to move through the pain and make it into power. And I will say, I think actually recently on one of our shows, our guest, Ishay from Living Ishay Reviews, talked about that idea, right? Of it's like you start with small steps just to get to that place of accomplishment.
Yeah.
And it's taking pain, but recognizing how that pain can be a driver towards something bigger, right? Just like you said, we got to go through that pain.
That's right. Pain is healing in many ways. When your body aches, you're actually healing.
Yes.
But pain is healing.
I would say this is maybe a good transition to sharing something about coming up with this idea of pain to power. I got a new project coming up. So most of you might know I'm a blogger, but I'm trying something different as well. And so hopefully you'll be able to see a little clip of what's coming up this Sunday for me. It's coming in a second. Hi, my name is Maria, but you are soon going to know me as Brown Girl Interrupting. And what I mean by that is that very soon, hopefully, you're going to be following my blog. I am a writer, and I started writing because I was married, I had children, and then my life changed when I separated, and I did a lot of learning and reflecting and growing in that process of change, because change always leads us to that. And I've decided to share that with the rest of the world, because sometimes hearing that someone else is going through the same thing as you, or understanding and putting words to the feelings and experiences we're having, helps us to heal from them, or grow from them, or learn from them. And so that's what my blog is. It's writing about life, healing, relationships, parenting, dating, marriage, pain, love, mistakes, growth, and coming out whole still in all of it as a human, flawed, but always open to new things. So that's my life, that's my journey, and it's written in this blog. But my hope is that you are going to go to www.browngirlinterrupting.com and join and subscribe to the blog and read all about my story to help you maybe gain some perspective on yours. So I am a writer, but for those of you who have maybe read the blog, I'm venturing into something a little new as well, which is that on Sunday, January 9th, this Sunday, I am going to be hosting on my YouTube channel, Brown Girl Interrupting, a interview and starting to talk about this idea of taking pain into power with the meme king for real, who is a social media He's a guy on social media who talks about relationships and healing, and he has taken pain and turned it into power. And I am going to be interviewing his to find out more about his story. So definitely check it out and tune in. You'll be seeing a commercial on this channel. If you haven't done it yet, go and subscribe to Brown Girl Interrupting on YouTube and hit the notification bell so you see the commercial for the upcoming interview. And stay tuned, 9 o'clock on Sunday, January 9th.
All right, that's some good stuff. I can't wait to see it. I'm excited.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. He's got an interesting story. Y'all gonna want to hear this. And I am the exclusive. The exclusive. He has never shared his story before.
I'm gonna be there. Okay, so before I share this last lesson, I am a life coach of all things. I'm here to make your life better. I'm here to make you happy, baby. I'm here to satisfy you. So what I do, I go through a self-development process for you. That's one thing. Then if you need your business, if you have a business, I got you for that too. I also got you, if you're close in the facility, I can organize your life. If you ain't too clean or organized, I got you. And I'm going to teach you some things. And most importantly, I'm going to have you in a growth spurt, a growth aura that's going to shine so bright. No one can dim your light, but it's a process. It's not easy, but I'm here to take you through that process. So you can find my information out on Bettermindz LC@gmail.com. And I'm on Instagram, TikTok, where else? Facebook,
right?
And here YouTube. So subscribe so you can get our alerts. We are here to help and learn and grow together.
And let me tell you, the place I am today, the peace I have, the understanding of things. Yes, I got a little bit from Mark Manson, but a good amount of it has come from working with Lovely T and her knowledge and wisdom on truly how to get you to understand how to find your center and your grounding through spiritual healing, through examining your life, through really asking yourself the tough questions. And so definitely check her out.
I'm here for you. Okay, so lesson number 8. Success and self-improvement have nothing to do with each other. So, in the first chapter of Mark Manson's book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, he says, don't try. This is what is written on the headstone of Charles Bukowski. He uses Charles Bukowski as an example to show that success and self-improvement have nothing to do with each other. Charles Bukowski was someone who did not care about his success. At the point of his life where he was no longer famous, he still went to poetry readings and treated his audience with little respect. When he was at his peak success, he was not a good person. He certainly did not become successful by being a better person. It is possible for success to bring on self-improvement and vice versa. It is possible for success to bring on self-improvement and vice versa. However, this still does not mean that the two are the same or that one causes the other. When people say they want to be successful, what they often mean is that they want to make more money. Saying you want to be rich can carry negative connotations. So people use successful instead. It may be better, though, to say exactly what we mean by success. An example of this is that people would not often say that a stay-at-home parent is successful, though by their own definition of success, they may be. You know how many stay-at-home parents are millionaires? Okay. The only way society would see them as successful is if they were running a business out of their home and driving an expensive car. People also have a tendency to see people as successful, even though they have many flaws. People will often overlook their flaws and focus only on their successes. Mark Zuckerberg, for example, stole the Facebook idea, then kicked out the people who helped him create the social media platform. People tend to see Mark Zuckerberg as successful and excuse his flaws. This survivorship bias can cause people to confuse success and self-improvement as well. Time is what helps people improve themselves, while work is what helps people become successful. In order to improve yourself, you will have to put in quite a bit of time to look at your behavior and figure out how to change it. To be successful, you have to put in a lot of work by using the talents you already have. Self-improvement can often get in the way of success, and success can often get in the way of self-improvement. Therefore, chasing both self-improvement and success can cause a conflict. You will likely find that you will have to choose every day whether you want to work towards success or work towards improving yourself.
Well, and if we put our energy into improving ourselves, are we naturally becoming more successful in life overall?
Bingo! But when you don't think like that, right? When you don't think like that, you're focusing on the materials, what you can accomplish. You're focusing on what you desire. You're not focusing on yourself. You're not focusing on self-improvement. As a matter of fact, you may be focusing on devaluing yourself because you're doing a lot of things, not paying attention or living in the present. You're doing a lot of things that may be running over people, disrespecting, or not giving a fuck really how you treating people, or things of that nature, because you're chasing that success instead of self-improvement. Now, if you focusing on improving yourself, success comes, but you have to focus on self-improvement. That's why I say, all my clients, I don't care if you're a couple, you come to me, we're going to talk about those issues, but we also want to focus on individual self-improvement, self-awareness. That's the purpose. That's how you're going to better yourself, right, Maria?
For sure, right? It is. And I think so that idea too, going back to it's tied to materialistic, because to me success could be healing others, right? So your success is that what you're doing is helping other people. Your gauge should not be about success monetarily. It's not about the money and the accolades. It's the success of, again, I think it all goes back to humanity. To me, I mean, that's going to be my through line for everything. It's about humanity. It's about seeing people, doing for people, being with people, and having that desire for everyone to have success.
Right.
And internal success, not just external success.
Right.
Because if you're monetarily, and let's go back to Mark Zuckerberg or all those other people, right? There are a lot of people who got a lot of money and a lot of things, but they are out of whack and not at peace in their hearts. And it shows in their insecurity. It shows in their boastfulness. It shows in the ways they treat people. It shows in the ways they treat their own, employees in their companies, right? Let's talk about it, right? When we talk about people who have a lot of money.
You can do it. You can say that with normal people. Let's talk about it. You can say it with normal people, and then we're going to wrap it up. But to hit close to home, if you're around somebody that's always talking negative about somebody, hello, what makes their success great? What makes them a good person? What makes them great? What that in itself is some self-improvement work you have to do, period. Because if you can sit in a circle of people and they can have an idea of who you should be, that's a problem. Your success is materialized at that point. It's not you. How are you a successful mother? Are you a successful mother by
Don't ask my kids.
those you
Don't ask my kids. And look, and so that's an interesting thing because, and I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'm gonna say it real quick, but I think like that's a whole nother conversation for me because I think for a long time I thought success was going to be because my children thought I was good at being a mother, right? But the truth of the matter is, it's not, right? So how I know I'm a successful mother is because I believe in everything I do. And I know that the reason I do what I do is for the betterment of my children. And one day they'll know it themselves.
That's
And
right.
that's my success. My success
That's
is
right.
I am true and authentically honest about how I approach life in the way I engage with my children. And
That's
they
right.
may, or this is the art of not giving, or the subtle art of not giving a fuck. They may or may not accept it, care about it, see it, value it, even think it's present. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I love my children. I love
Exactly.
my children. I got 4. I love them all 4 of them. Even when they're assholes, I love them all. Because they're
Exactly.
mine. They're mine, right?
Exactly. Same here.
But I don't need them to approve whether or not I'm a good mother to them.
There you go. There you go. Exactly. So with that being said, I hope you like this episode. And if you don't, we don't give a fuck. So don't, but whatever. Don't give a fuck anyway. However, I hope you had enjoyed this session. And I hope you think about doing some self-improvement.
And get to the place where you have the subtle art of not giving a fuck because it will liberate you and give you peace. And that is always the goal.
That's right. So remember to come back next week, Thursday, same bat time, 9 p.m., same bat channel.
And be sure to tune in to Brown Girl Interrupting on Sunday at 9 o'clock.
Peace and love.